Good evening, viewers. This is BVI Channel 1, and we are live on Politics. Let me first of all apologize for the breakdown in the transmission earlier on when we started this program. But we're back again, and we are live on the program as we are going to be reviewing the politics of Imo State, and we'll be focusing on rescuing Imo State from a failed government. And tonight, we are graced to have in our midst as a guest the gubernatorial candidate of All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA. But before we bring him on, let us take a look at one trending video of the current governor of Imo State promising Imo youths of audio job. That is what the person that sent it to me actually said. So let us take a look at this very audio job in Canada, as promised by the current governor of Imo State.
Let me tell you something. I have gone further to negotiate with the European Union companies and Canadian companies. They are sending us special areas of digital skill, which our youth will also learn. And by December this year, 4,000 Imo youths will be employed in Europe. And once the employment letter comes, the governor will pay for your air tickets.
That is laughable. Someone actually. You're welcome back again. We are still live on the program Political Review, and we have in our midst joining us visually the APGA governorship candidate to speak to us, to speak to Imolites across the globe what he has in stock for them. Without wasting further of your time, let us quickly begin live on the studio. Good evening, sir. It's a pleasure to have you on Political Review tonight.
Good evening, and thanks for having me. And good evening, viewers across the globe.
All right, let us quickly know who is Anthony Chidi Ejogu, and what actually is driving you to present yourself to serve in Imo State.
Well, thank you for this wonderful and rare opportunity to address Ndimo, indeed Ndigbo, across the world, wherever they are watching from. By way of further introduction, my name is Anthony Chidi Ejogu. I am from Imo State. I am from Omakro in Emekuku in Owerri North local government area. I was born in March 23rd, 1974. I was actually born and raised at Aba, where my parents lived at that time, born into a Christian Catholic family. 9 children, 5 girls, 4 boys. Grew up at Aba. I attended primary schools at Aba, Imo State University Primary School. And at that point in my life, I thought I was going to be a priest. So I went on to do my secondary education at a seminary school, St. Peter. And after the seminary school, I decided to proceed for further studies in the United States, where my undergraduate degree from the University of Akron in Ohio, and then subsequently my master's degrees in the state of Maryland, Bowie State University, University of Maryland. So I commenced my career in the United States, and subsequently, sometime in 2008, I returned back to Nigeria. I had a little outing politically as a special advisor to the governor on administration. That was short-lived till 2011. And after that, I started my consultancy firm in Lagos, which I still run till today, and financial consultancy. And by the special grace of God, we are where we are now today. I am of our great party, All Progressives Grand Alliance, for the upcoming November 11, 2023 elections coming up. I am presenting myself to Ndimo at this critical time. I believe we are at a crossroad of a referendum between the same old politics and a new beginning. And it is not going to be easy, I know, but if all hands are on deck and people realize that indeed power belongs to the people, then we can actually indeed cause this paradigm shift and begin the new journey.
Thank you very much. And now, how do you react to the statement by the governor of Imo State promising youths of 4,000 jobs in Canada and other places? And I must tell you, I've heard you talk about the kind of your narrative or your opinion about empowering the people, the pool.
Good evening. A juggle. The governor of Nigeria has gone up. A lot of things are expected from political leaders. Now, to you, what is the first thing that is in your mind if you are given an opportunity to serve the people of Imo State? What is the first thing you will do to restore the bastardized hope and trust?
Okay, I believe he can answer that question.
NDBC. All right, I wasn't sure whether you were done or not. NDBC, thank you so much for that question. I'm happy you mentioned bastardized hope and trust between the people and the government. First thing that is topmost on the agenda of every Imolite is to have peace restored in Imo State, to bring back the glory days of Imo State, that we once knew it to be the most peaceful state in this country. That is the first, making sure that security, life and property are restored so that people can sleep with their both eyes closed. I think that is the major thing. And how do we achieve this? This is security matters. And of course, I might not be at liberty at this point to disclose a lot of them. But the most important thing, like I've said in a lot of other forums that I've had opportunities to speak, is to make sure that we restore what I call democratic accountability at the local levels. What do I mean by that? Is to open up the channels to embrace dialogue and negotiations, honest negotiations at the local levels, getting people engaged at that local levels. So that means that in communities, you have community participation. People want to feel that the government is close to them, all right? If you now set up organized security vigilante network like they have in Anambra State, and also they are connected to the security apparatus in terms of sharing intelligence and all that, the people and everything is local at the local levels. And if you do this sincerely and honestly, I think that will go a long way in curbing most of these criminalities, because everybody that belongs in every locality, in every community knows everybody. So that way we can at least start restoring peace in our communities and making our communities livable again. Of course, you have to introduce technology in doing this and all that. But what I mean by restoring democratic accountability to the local levels is to make sure that we restore the third tier level of government. The local government system has been completely eradicated. This is the third tier level of government that brings government to the grassroots. And that was the main essence of its establishment in the first place. Now that has been completely eradicated and government has gone up to the next level and is farther away from the people. That is going to cause a lot of agitation. That is going to cause a lot of opportunity drain, where the state government now usurp entire power, entire resources that should trickle down and cause development at the grassroots. These are some of these things. So if we can fix that, every other thing like security and all that will grow organically, will fix itself organically at the local levels. That is the main thing that I have to do to make sure that our communities are livable, people are at peace. You can come to the table and dialogue, whatever your grievances are, whatever our differences are. If we come to the table, dialogue, give an opportunity to embrace dialogue and negotiation sincerely, I think we can begin the process of rebuilding trust and confidence, because there's no longer trust and confidence between the people and the government. So many lies that have been pandering around. When the government says one thing, they mean another thing, and the people don't believe what they're saying. These are the things that are causing all this distrust, and these are the things that are causing all this agitation. So we have to be sincere with each other. We have to mean business. Government is representing the people, the mind of the people. And exactly when people feel that they have not played a role in installing this government, when the people feel that the government is illegitimate, of course, what do you get? This is what you get. A lot of animosity, a lot of grievance, a lot of whatnot that is causing all sorts of criminality and what we're seeing today. So security is the most important thing, because nothing happens in an unsafe environment. No economy thrives in an unsafe environment. So I think that is the first thing on the agenda. And then, of course, start thinking about how to rejig the economy and create a robust economy. For me, I believe the key to that is what I call, the microeconomic engines, which is the private sector. So you create a conducive atmosphere for private sector to thrive. And I think these are the most important things that I would do immediately we become successful at the polls in November. Are you there?
I think it's from my own end. Sorry, can you hear me now? All right.
Yes, I can.
Sorry about that. I'll be speaking with my this thing off. Okay. Now that we've talked about this issue of insecurity, let us address that. Some people have said and believe that the security in Imo State is politicized. Do you agree with that? What's your opinion about it?
Well, Chinedu, I'm very careful in making blanket statements that are not founded. But I would say one thing, that I think it was late General Abacha that says, when security issues last more than a certain number of days, then the government is complicit in it. In Imo State, these are very uncommon times. These are times that we've never seen before, and it has dragged on for so long. And in certain times or incidences, the government has turned a blind eye and kept mute on some of these incidences that are very devastating. So it leads anybody to believe that they might know the perpetrators, or they might know how to tackle this. Because, look, you are being elected as the governor of a state, and you are the chief security officer of that state. I remember sometime during the Jonathan administration when the Chibok girls were missing, and the whole country went agog and said, no, you failed on the security aspect of it, and everybody wanted him out. And he actually was voted out because of security issues. So if you are sitting as the chief security officer in this state and things are happening, that means you have failed. You have failed to provide the basic things, which is securing lives and property. And in that regard, I would say, well, it's either the government knows about it or have decided to turn a blind eye to it, or is not capable of maintaining their position as the chief security officer of the state. Simple.
So do you have plans on tackling this issue of security? Because that is the fundamental, from what you said earlier, very fundamental in economic development. You can't do, nothing exists, nothing happens in the situation of insecurity. What's your plan to tackle insecurity in Imo State?
You're correct, Chinedu. I just said that earlier enough. And I said, look, first is security, because no economy thrives in an unsafe environment. And I also said that the most important thing is to make sure that we restore democratic accountability at the local levels. That is key. Look, a lot of these things stem from the fact that sustainable development is no longer reachable to the people, to the grassroots people. We have a third-tier level of government, which is the local government administration, and that has been completely eradicated. Do you understand? That takes government further away from the people. The people don't feel that they are included in the grand scheme of things. They are not being consulted. So you need to open up a dialogue, the channel of dialogue and negotiation, and sincerely do that with the people. Get people involved in communities. If you form organized security community vigilante network, that's going to help. If you get the communities involved in decision-making processes, that's going to help. If you have the security apparatus that is linked to the state security apparatus in terms of sharing intelligence, that's going to help. If you now employ technology in doing this, that's wonderful. So when you talk about security issues, I don't think a general lays out his strategy in going to war. Some of them you might not be at liberty to disclose, a lot of them, but key thing regarding what is happening, that what we're facing here, a lot of this insecurity that we're having, a lot of this criminality is stemmed out of agitation and grievances and all that. You know, when people believe that your mode of operation, your style of government is repressive, and you don't care about how they feel. You're not empathic to the plight of the people. This is what you get. You know, it happened in the Niger Delta area until amnesty was granted, until they got included in the grand scheme of things. That is what we need in Imo State. And you can't run, like I've said before, you know, democracy is not through the barrels of gun. It's not, you can't cure an ideology with guns and bullets. You need to sit down and dialogue. You need to bring a superior ideology. And that's the human factor that we are lacking in this whole thing. Government should wear a human face. You have to be empathetic to people, the plight of the people. And that's the only way. You know, people are not going to be agitated, you know, and then the other issues, yeah, there are issues that are that will be there as a constant. Of course, even in the United States of America, there are crimes, but you can deal with those. But when you're fighting a guerrilla warfare like we're seeing in Imo State, it's difficult. There must be something deeper. It must be an ideology issue. It must be about people's pain that you're not attending to. So this is how we intend to do that. We intend to dialogue. We intend to open up those channels of negotiation. And at least we'll start from there. You can't prefer a solution without understanding what is actually happening.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Now that you've talked about ideology, that you can't fight ideology with guns and bullets. Talking about this ideology, many Igbo young people and generally believe that there is leadership gap, there is leadership failure in the Southeast, not just in Imo State. Now, coming down to Imo State, the political leadership in Imo State have not been able to connect with the aspiration and the agitation of the people. And you're coming from a political party, some deemed as Igbo-centric political party or Igbo-rooted political party. Are you worried that the party is not living up to the expectation, or do you think that the party is actually on track in galvanizing Igbo people politically for their emancipation?
That's a very wonderful question, Chinedu, and it's a deep one. I have to be very careful in answering that question. But you know, like they say, there are political response to questions and there are sincere response to questions. And I think as a decent person and as a Christian, I'm not going to dance around issues and I'm not going to give you political answers. I prefer to be straightforward and I prefer to level with my people. All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, is a wonderful party. It is the only political platform that resonates with the average Igbo man. Every Igbo man has this feeling that connects them to APGA, with APGA. Because for me personally, I don't see APGA as a political party. I see it as a movement. You understand? Well, it stems from our great leader, Dim Chukwemeka Odimegwu Ojukwu. I remember one of his last words were, "This party, don't let it die. Do this for me, Ndigbo." When we lost the war, or whatever they call it, no victor, no vanquish, that's fine. But his words were, we might have lost the war, but we haven't lost the battle. The battlefield has just changed. It's no longer about fighting with guns and all that. It's now a mental battle. You understand? Now, if you also take a look at Ndigbo before the war, during the war, and after the war, you will see that a lot has gone wrong. You understand? Ndigbo, the southeastern flank, the old eastern region, was the most progressive economy predicted, the most progressive economy in the world, growing at the average rate of 9% per annum. If you look at the developments in the southeastern region then, they were quite deliberate and strategic. If you look at Onitsha as trading center, Aba light industries, Umuahia biotechnology, Cross River State, holidaying and dairy products, and all these were strategically located so that by the time it connects, that would now turn to the cannibalization of the southeastern flank. But immediately after the war, this developmental plan was truncated, and this is where we are today. And I will tell you that for free, that since after the war, we have been grappling with lack of leadership and direction in the southeastern region. For some reason, I don't know what happened. It's now politics of self. You know, nobody is now thinking about the order. And that's what we have been witnessing. And that's why development has eluded us. We are also crying about marginalization. But I think I beg to differ on that. Now, the question, going back to your question about APGA. APGA is a wonderful party. You know, APGA has managed to entrench themselves very deeply in Anambra State. From Soludo's time to Obiano's time what's his name? Peter Obi to Obiano, and now this is where we are. It has been a successive takeover of power from one government to the other in one party, which is APGA. And they have done very well in Anambra State. Now, but in Imo, we haven't been that lucky to make sure that the party is entrenched in Imo State. And The reasons are just very clear. We had that opportunity under Rocha Sokorocha. Of course, he left and joined APC. And then we had another opportunity in 2019, but that was the hope and the aspirations of Ndigbo were just shattered. So the party has not done very well since 2019 in Imo State. So we are trying to rise out of the ashes of what happened in 2019. And this is where I am at this point. I am dealing with quite a lot in terms of rebuilding the party, rebuilding the mindset of the party faithfuls in Imo State. It's not an easy task, but I believe it is doable and we can get it done. But now, as far as the national leadership view of the agenda of the party, most people feel that the party has not sincerely represented what Ndigbo thought it would represent, over the years, and perhaps rightly so. But I think with the right focus, again, that is the true Igbo-centric agenda. We haven't lost hope. We can still redeem that image and regain the confidence of Ndigbo with ABGA. That is what I feel. You can see that when the Labour Party emerged, it seemed like it was just taking over the ABGA, the ABGA faithfuls. But we still have a lot of ABGA faithfuls that are there. And we just have to prove that we indeed are speaking the mind and the desires of Ndigbo as a party. And that is what we are striving to do. It's not just, the dream is not just for Imo. The dream is about the southeastern flank. We need to galvanize, the southeastern region to make sure that we have one common agenda. See, look, it's not about a party. I've said this many times. It's about good governance. It's about having a common agenda for the economic prosperity of Ndigbo. That is what it's all about. In the southwestern region, some time ago, they were not all in one party, but they had one common agenda. Look at the Amotekun that came up. They all agreed on it, and it's working successfully in the southwest. But here in the southeast, it's a different story. So we just have to have people that actually their heart and mind would beat for the welfare and development of our region. That's what it is all about. It's about humanization and governance, and having the feeling that the desire for Ndigbo to come together and grow from within and prosper as a people. That is all it's all about. That's what we're hoping to achieve.
All right, thank you very much. And one last thing before I open up the lines for callers to call in and give us their own opinion, and also take some of the commentaries from the comment section. Now you've talked about the Igbo agenda. In your opinion, the manifesto of APOGA, not just yours, the constitution of APOGA and the build-up of APOGA believes so much in the restructuring of Nigeria, because many believe that the way Nigeria is structured, it will be near impossible for the Southeast to have what we call an economic emancipation or live up to its potential when it comes to economic development. Now, over the years, we've had a couple of them who had been at the National Assembly, and also we have a governor that is from APOGA, and the push for this restructuring of Nigeria, regional government, or restructuring of this country is not really being pushed by your party. What do you think is the reason behind that? Or are they shying away from it? Or there are forces that is mitigating against your party pushing forward where they stand with respect to the way Nigeria is structured? And what is your own opinion with the way Nigeria is structured after all?
Chinedu, this is a very wonderful question. And let me also cast your mind back a little bit. I think there was a video of yours that I saw about restructuring. And you said that you are not a big fan or a proponent of restructuring in that sense of it. But what is important is good governance and economic prosperity of any region, right? Whether Nigeria remains the way it is, whether Nigeria is balkanized into regions, whether Nigeria is allowed for one set of people to have self-autonomy as they desire, is a secondary issue. What is important is everybody wants to feel safe. Everybody wants to be able to thrive and prosper, given that level playing field. Everybody wants an opportunity to have a sense of belonging in this Nigeria state. That's what is important. So I personally, I feel the way the Nigerian state is right now, it's not workable. It's not workable for various reasons. You understand? So it's either we do devolution of power to the regions. I can't talk about even giving more powers to the state because they already have enormous powers. The state governments do already have that. Now, I want to think about it from a different angle. You understand? Now, in this country, we have the center sharing allocation to all the states. No state would complain that they have never received their allocation, save for when Governor Ndigbo was in Lagos State and they had issues at the center and they pulled away from the Argon. But other than that, every state has received their allocation. Now the question is, what have we been doing with our own allocation? What have our leaders in the Southeast been doing with our own allocation? Have we been strategic in terms of sustainable development and economic development and prosperity of the Southeastern region? These are the questions that we must ask. You know, so it's not so much about being marginalized. That's the center in terms of political appointments or federal character and all that. It's by the way, but you are getting funds. What have you been able to do with those funds? You talked about good leadership. You talked about failure in leadership. And that is what we've been experiencing. So I think we should look at it from that angle. We have fertile ground, but we keep injecting bad seed into the ground. And we expect a bountiful harvest. That's not going to happen. We have always put square pegs in round holes, and that's the problem. So that needs to be changed. Leadership must change. And that's the only way we can drive this revolution of economic prosperity of the southeastern flank. And I think it's not, we can't keep crying about marginalization or restructuring. Even if we restructure and we have bad leaders in the Biafran region, we are not going anywhere. That's the truth. So we must think about having the right people there, the right people that care about our own people, that are visionary leaders that know exactly what to do, and that will take strategic moves in terms of making the right investment, harnessing the scarce resources that we have to make sure that this region is developed and people are empowered and lifted out of poverty. That is what we need.
Thank you very much. You have made that very statement very loud and clear. And that is also where, at the point, I agree with you. Just briefly, let us go on a very brief break to get more from our guest, the gubernatorial candidate of Abuga in Imo State. I'll be right back.
Let me tell you something.
I think there is a mix-up there, but I'll still be right back.
Thank you.
My question.
You see, for me, there are two forms of empowerment. You have the push empowerment and you have the pull empowerment. The push empowerment, which is very prevalent in our community today, where the politicians empower youths with buying them keke or kada without taking into consideration their God-given talent and abilities. This explains why a lot of the World Bank and UNDP projects fail after a time, because they are not people-oriented, and it doesn't solve our problems. But in my own opinion, the pull empowerment pattern is actually the empowerment that is geared towards lifting people out of poverty. That is, you're taking into consideration God-given talent and abilities of these individuals.
We are still on the program Political Review, and we still have in the studios joining us visually the Abuga gubernatorial candidate in Imo State for the forthcoming governorship election happening in November. Let's go to some of the commentaries we have here on the comment section. Safa G. Jose said, Imo State needs Olu Oguta or Haji Egbema or Kigwe Isu Owerri master plan in order to thrive on as a state. Women and youth empowerment and employment, ultra-modern market across all the 27 local governments. Sir, how do you react to this? Do you agree with this very comment? He said that Imo State will thrive if there is this observation of this master plan of the named places. How important are those places to Imo State?
Well, Imo is made up of 3 zones: Owerri zone, Olu zone, and Okigwe zone. And these 3 zones are very important. And they also possess their own peculiarities as well that complement each other to make the state a wonderful state. Now, we have seen over the years since the creation of Imo State in February 1976, development centered around the Owerri metropolitan area. And incidentally, it's interesting to also tell you this, that since the creation of Imo State, especially let's talk about the Fourth Republic, where we are right now, we have had Olu zone hold power for going to 20 years now. One zone holding the power for 20 years. And if the incumbents desire to come back again for the second term crystallizes, that means one particular zone would have held power for 24 years. And Okigwe zone has held power for 4 years. And Owerri zone has held power for just a couple of months. So you can see there is a great imbalance there. I am not a proponent of zoning structure, but it's interesting to also tell you that if you look at the entire 5 eastern states, okay, all of them, Anambra, Abia, Ebonyi, Enugu, they have all been following a zoning pattern because of the kind of democracy we play here, winner takes all. Imo is the only zone that has not respected that fairness and equity in terms of zoning, okay? So, but they claim that the Owerri zone, where I come from, because we, the capital is here and development, all the ministries and everything are here and development is here. Well, that we don't have to worry about holding on power, whereas Olu has held power for 20 years. But now, in that case, what has the leadership brought to Olu in terms of development? Nothing. See, I think both development should spread across. Although the beautiful hills of Olu, and the rich heritage of, the beautiful hills in Okigwe, the rich heritage of Olu, and the hospitality of Owerri complement each other and make this Eastern Heartland a wonderful destination. Okay, so any right-thinking governor would trigger development across the 3 senatorial zones. It has to be. You can't have development centered in one particular area and everybody's jostling to come to the center, which is the capital city, for employment. And you have the rest of the zones, tagged with rurality all over them. It doesn't work that way. So we think, and sincerely, that development should be spread across. People should stay wherever they are, and whatever that is in Owerri must be in Olu. Development should trickle down. That is why I'm talking about restoring the local government system. It's important because they get allocations and they can manage. It's just like a self-rule. Whatever that is happening at the center must be duplicated and replicated in every 27 local government of Imo State, thereby bringing development there, giving people the opportunity to get engaged meaningfully, and the craze for running to Owerri would die down. So it's important. The gentleman's comment is very correct. And governors must think along those lines to make sure that things are spread across and development is spread across every local government. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. And then now let's go back to Ndubisi and Enugu. You are there, and you can tell us what you make of what you've had so far and your contribution.
Yeah, thank you, Chinedu, and thank you, Mr. Ejogo. I want to ask this question. From my own side, as a Biafran and somebody who believes in Biafran ideology. And what is Biafran ideology? Good governance, equity, fairness, and justice. How would you convince people like us who believe that Nigeria as presently configured or designed will never work? Some of us who believe that as you are contesting now and you are saying all those beautiful things that you do this, do that, that once you are elected as the governor, you will be tied. The constitution will tie your hand because the IG of police is not answerable to you as a governor. Some of this insecurity happening here and there, it's not like the governor will not want to stop it. But at times you discover that the army commander is not answerable to you. In the first 1 week in the office, you will be faced with the obvious reality that this constitution is tying your hands as the governor. Now, how would you convince some of my friends or some of our people who believe in Biafra, but they don't believe in the kind of Biafran ideology I believe? Because my own, I believe in political process, There are some of them who believe that the only way to achieve Biafra is by armed struggle. Now, Nigeria doesn't understand any language, any grammar. That the only thing they understand is weapon, gun. So, how would you, if you are given an opportunity to be the governor of Imo State, bring these people back to fold to begin to believe that if people should work with you, will at least midway secure the ideology of Biafra, which is good governance, equity, fairness, and justice, even with the faulty constitution we have? That is my question. On to just have your opinion. I know this question, this is heavy and quite complex, but I want your honest opinion and response to this question, because most of our followers are Biafrans all over the world. Thank you.
All right. So you had him. How do you react to that?
Very clearly. Ndubisi, you're correct. This is a very deep and very complex question. And I don't think you are the only person that will call yourself a Biafran. So long as we are all in this part of the region, we also believe that we are all Ndigbo, and the blood of Ndigbo flows in our veins. But you see, my brother, and I speak this sincerely, and I am glad I have this opportunity to address our people all over the globe, and Ndigbo all over the globe, and Biafrans all over the globe. You see, a man does not set his house on fire to prove a point. The unrest, the killing and maiming and everything that we are facing here in the Southeast is hurting us as a people. The seat at home that we're having is hurting us as a people. Yes. Do I believe that Nnamdi Kanu should be released? Absolutely, yes. He should be released. There's absolutely no reason why he's been held there. Do I also now believe that we should continue to inflict pain on ourselves, killing our own brothers and killing our economy to prove a point to the people at the center? I think no. Let me give you an example. During the apartheid in South Africa, when Nelson Mandela was held in prison. Now, if the Afrikaners, the people in his region, like in Soweto, if they gave an ultimatum to the whites and say, you must release Nelson Mandela, and for every single day you hold him, we will continue burning things, we'll continue causing problems in Soweto. Do you think that would make them to release Nelson Mandela? Absolutely not. They will be happy. They will hold him there longer, so that will be a very wonderful strategy for them to keep killing themselves. That is what is happening here. We have to use our brain and our sense a little bit. Because if we keep sitting at home, it's not affecting the economy in Abuja. Businesses are still going on there. Nobody's feeling any pain. On Mondays, we lock down here in Lagos, in Abuja, everywhere they're doing their businesses. I think what I said earlier, that the battlefield has changed. Let the battlefield change. It's now a mind game. So I think one of the first things that we must do as a people is to be sincere with each other and to be sincere to this cause of Igbo agenda. Igbo agenda meaning good governance, economic prosperity for Ndigbo. We are very resilient people. We are hardworking people. We are ingenious. And we need to harness that and bring the best out of ourselves. There is nothing wrong with our people. The only thing that is causing a lot of all this agitation and grievances and all this is when you are not sincere. Chinedu said it earlier, the trust and confidence that has been lost. We see that all the time with even NLC. We see that in negotiation with the Ministry of Labor. One time, oh, we are going on strike. The next moment, the strike is called off. How it resolved, nobody knows. Tomorrow, it comes back up. There has to be sincerity of purpose. There has to be sincerity in everything that we do. And people must believe in you and trust what you're saying. So first of all, we have made mistakes of putting the bad, I won't call them bad leaders, but the wrong people in positions of responsibility, and we call them leaders. People that don't have our interest at heart. So that is why when Chinedu said earlier, BV1 channel, where we actually do the due diligence for Ndigbo to now know who they are also looking at voting. We must ask these questions. We must ask questions about who you are, where are you coming from, what is your antecedent, what is your pedigree, who are your parents, where did you go to school, not where people come out and say they went to school here, you don't even have a classmate that can attest to that. These are very critical questions that we must start asking. What do you believe in? What are your moral standards and your values? These are important things. And as long as we don't take these things very seriously, then we keep breeding monsters and giving the wrong people positions of responsibility. And that is what we get. So first of all is this. For me personally, I have values and standards and moral principles that guide me in my own life. My parents are alive. I know where I'm coming from. I'm a true Igbo man at heart. So if you look at these things, what is the Nigerian structure the way it is? Of course, we all agree, everybody agrees. But the way of guns, bullets, killing is not the right way. We can achieve what we want if we are a bit more strategic and diplomatic about it. First of all, is having the right people in there. People that care for our plight. People that are not on their high horse. They have to come down to our level and level with us and be honest with us. People whose interest is for the well-being and welfare of Ndigbo. People that can galvanize support across the southeastern zone and be a rallying point so that no matter the state, whether it's Anambra, Abia, Ebonyi, and Enugu, no matter the party that the governors are, we have one common agenda, the development and prosperity of Igbo. It's important. We can start from there. The United Arab Emirates, they have 7 emirates, kingdoms there. Nobody's moving from Dubai to Abu Dhabi and all that because life is better in Abu Dhabi. It's the same everywhere. Let me tell you one thing. If the eastern region is booming, nobody will remember agitation. Nobody. If you live in Owerri, or you live in Enugu, or you live in Nsukka, or you live in Aba, and everything is working, there is super railroad running across the southeastern states, and things are working, nobody will remember this. And the Nigerian structure, the way it is, it's not our problem. I've said that earlier. Our problem is bad leadership. Because every state, as it is now, is receiving allocation. So what are we doing with it? Now the governors have received 5 billion naira. Okay, at least 2 has been disbursed to them yet as a palliative money. This money is not a grant. This money is a loan. And they are going to be deducting 120 million from source every single month. But what is happening with the money? They have used it in the hands of their cronies to go and buy rice. Rice you will now share to your own cronies. They will eat it, and that's the end of it. How are we going to pay that back? Without making the right strategic investments in this in the agro sector, so that you can have a sustainable development in that department. So these are the things we're talking about. You get allocation. Some of them get allocation, but they don't even touch Naira. They change it to dollars, and they keep spending dollar in this country. These are the questions that we should start asking ourselves. You know, cutting away money to foreign lands, growing their own economy, and our people are suffering. Okay, you just heard the governor say 4,000 jobs, and they're going to ship our youth overseas in Canada and all that. To do what? To do what? Why can't they be here and provide services to the world? So you need people that are creative. You need people that can think out of the matrix, out of the box, and make things happen and create wealth here. That's what we need. And that is going to bring peace. If our brothers and sisters, if our brothers that are carrying arms also believe that we have governors that are caring for them, that are putting up measures that will take care of this whole issue in the next 2 years, nobody will carry arms, believe it or not. Just like Peter Obi said, if you say we were going to Lagos, be on the path to Lagos. Don't tell me we're going to Lagos and we're driving towards Aba. We will never get to Lagos, regardless of how fast you're going or how good the car is. Let's be on that trajectory, and sincerely too. And people will understand. Our people are very understanding people. We quickly forget our pains and our troubles, but we need to deal with people that are sincere. What is happening here is because we believe that our leaders no longer care for us. That's the first thing. That some of them are even in active connivance with our own enemies to bring us down. That is what is happening. So you feel that, okay, we put up arms to fight for ourselves. That's what's happening. But now it's an opportunity for us to stand together. Choose the right person. When you choose the right person, I said it earlier, there's opportunity to come to the table and dialogue, and you are sincere about it. If I say, oh, my brothers, let's stop this. This is what I would do. And this is what I would do. And they watch you do that. Within 12 months, it's happening. Nobody wants trouble and nobody wants violence. There'll be relative peace and calm in this place. And because they trust you, they'll work with you. I think that's the direction we must start looking at. And if we come together and this killing stops, guess what? They'll release Nnamdi Kanu immediately because they know that, okay, these people have gotten a little bit of sense in their head. They are no longer burning themselves. They're no longer killing themselves. If we kill our security operatives, for example, we look at them as soldiers. But some of our brothers are in there. Some of our brothers are in there, and we are killing our own brothers. Or we come out and start killing, shooting because of sit at home. We are killing our own people. If we now kill ourselves, who will now be in the Biafra land? You see, so I think I am pleading that we should rethink this thing. But most importantly, we will have to stand up and cause this political revolution by moving away and voting out these people that don't have our interest at heart. And I'm saying this very clearly. And this is where I present myself. And you do all your investigation and find out, okay, who is this man? What does he stand for? Is he sincere? Who are his parents? All these things, you ask these questions and you give that person an opportunity. Unfortunately, as a mechanic, so that's the problem that we're facing. You give people an opportunity, they mess it up. And it makes it difficult for good and honest people that actually want to serve sincerely. Servant leadership, that's what I call it. So I think I am pleading, let our people give peace a chance, give opportunity to the right people. Let's not look at money or who has the big pocket, who can throw money around. That money that they are throwing around is our money, is our commonwealth. And when they throw it around, you grab it, and then you now give power to them, then you've given them the keys to the treasury, and that's it. That's the problem. So look at what a man has to offer. Look at what he stands for. Look at his sincerity, and then give him a chance. We will restore peace. And somebody must be at that point to now start talking to other governors and say, look, my brothers, let's do this way. This is our region. We must develop it. Whether Nigeria remains the way it is or not, so long as we're getting our money and we are sensible about it and we do strategic thinking and we do the right investments, this place becomes like Dubai and nobody would want to leave. And guess what? Everybody will start coming here. The whole Africa will start coming here, and that is what we want. So that is my answer to this.
All right, thank you very much. You've really given a very deep and comprehensive answer to this very question. And we'll be wrapping up on today's series. And I must tell you, we'll be revisiting this program with you again, where we will then have to interact with our people in our local dialect. We'll be missing it so that everybody now, what we did now is just to have a broader sense for the benefit of all of our viewers across the globe that are listening to us. On the next series, we are going to engage you deeply, and we'll have the opportunity to interact with our people in our own language, in a free, I would call it freestyle, okay, where we can now scrutinize more of your intention for the people. It's a pleasure to have you, and we hope to have you again on this platform.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chinedu and Ndubisi. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Ndimo. Thank you, Ndigbo, across the globe.
Right. Thank you very much. And that is it for today. Thank you so much. And I'll be having you back again next time on this platform.
I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
That is it, my people. That is where we're wrapping it up on today's series on political review. And I believe you've gotten one or two things from today's program. And we look forward for you to join us on our next series. Be optimistic, okay, on this platform. We are not missing word. We say it the way it is. And to Ndubisi, who joined me via the WhatsApp, thank you for coming. And as a way of wrapping up, I want to get your summary of what we talked about on your assessment of our guest tonight.
Thank you, Chinedu. The political sense people are so docile when it comes to politics. And of course, many people don't expect anything from government. Majority of the people, in this case, if you have 2.7 million registered voters in Imo State, how many of them will come out for the election? You'll be surprised to see less than 500,000 people coming. So the message to our guests this night is that the struggle will continue even after election. I wish him good luck. I wish he will win the election. Going into competition, we will expect the best. So the message comes from me and from this platform is wishing him all the best. Of course, he responded to all the questions we put forward, and he got them right. So, but it's not me that will judge. Our followers all over the world and those in Imo, because we have so many of them following us on this platform. They will be the judge. Thank you, Chinedu.
Thank you very much.
And thank you.
Those that joined us lately, just give us your own summary quickly about your assessment of our guest tonight.
Thank you, Mazi Chinedu. Good evening, everybody. So sorry I joined late, but I want to also wish um, the candidate from the APGA success in his campaign and his march towards winning the election in Imo State. And I wish him that he continue to think of the good things that will happen to Ndimo and Ndigbo at large. Thank you so much. All the best, sir.
All right, thank you so much. And that is it for now. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. I hope you come back again on this platform. Follow us on all our social media platforms and also follow what we are updating you. Stay connected at all times. And if you've not subscribed, hit on the subscription button and you'll be up to speed with whatever that is happening. On this, I'm signing out. Bye-bye for now.